When the PS5 was showing what games they had and what the console was going to look like, first of all, I was a little bit like, whoa, what's going on? Because first thing you saw was the Rockstar Games logo, and everyone, including myself, we were all like, no, there's going to be GTA 6. But no, it was just going to be a remastered version of GTA 5. And everyone was disappointed, myself included. But then people were shown the trailer for Spider-Man Miles Morales. And a lot of people, again, myself included, I was like, oh my god, this can be amazing. Miles is one of my favourite characters in the Spider-Man universe, and to see that we were getting a game, it was like, yes. But then we were hit with two key parts information. One was saying it's an expansion pack, which basically DLC, and another one was it's a shorter game like Uncharted Legacy, again, a shorter expansion pack again. And a lot of people were really disappointed because everyone was like, what was the point of just bringing a little tiny game out as one of your big, oh my god, look, PS5 exclusive, if it's only going to be an expansion pack? But what we're going to take a look at now is something that is, well, let's just say Insomniac Games has been caught out lying about the game. So it's come from one angry gamer, Insomniac caught lying about Spider-Man and Miles Morales. Back in June, Sony and Insomniac Games had two differing opinions regarding what the race-swapped Spider-Man game was going to be. According to Sony, head of European business, it was going to be an expansion tacked on top of an overhauled Spider-Man that would take advantage of the extra processing power the PS5 has to offer. And this is what we got. So this is the actual quote. There's a substantial Miles component, which is the expansion element. But also within the game as well, there's been a major enhancements to the game and the game engine, obviously deploying some of the major PS5 technology and features. Insomniac and Jason Schreier, I absolutely cannot stand that guy, on the other hand, insisted the game was a standalone expansion. That assertion made by Sony were patently false, and that Sony was merely falsely conveying the scope of the project in development. This is what Insomniac Games said. Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales is the next adventure in the Marvel Spider-Man universe. We will reveal more about the standalone game at a future date. Don't get me wrong, the trailer looked incredible, it still does. And to be honest with you, I probably will be getting it because I love the Spider-Man game. It's one of my favourite all-time games. And I've completed it God knows how many times. But then Jason Schreier went into it. News. Spider-Man Miles Morales is not an expansion or enhancement or remaster, despite a Sony executive's comments this morning, a source tells Bloomberg News. Nor is it Spider-Man 2. It is a brand new standalone game, similar in scope to Uncharted Lost Legacy. And that game was extremely short, and is a bit like, a bit like how Resident Evil 3 Remake is. So, we got another one who was saying, I've seen some weird theories floating around. So just to clear something up, Miles Morales was always a smaller scale standalone game. Sony probably should have said that last night, but the main cause for confusion here is the Sony executive's erroneous comments. At the time, it was noted that it was extraordinarily unlikely that Sony wouldn't be aware of what they were paying for and showing off, which is very true, because Sony, the multi-billion-dollar company that is literally bringing out a brand new console, which, to be honest with you, the PS5 is going to win the war because the PS always wins. And they were like, right, we're going to show off some new games, but we're going to tell people exactly what they are, which is what they did. But then when you got Insomniac and Jason Schreier, again, him, because, he's all for games and, he has never written anything which is judgeable. And Sony would be like, no, this is exactly what it is. We're telling people exactly what the game is going to be because we don't want to lie to people. Even though they've, for some unknown reason, over the last couple of months, last year or two, they've decided to start to censor things. And it's like, Sony, come on, don't be so naive. But it goes on. Right, so we had that one buzz there. That it was equally unlikely Simon Rutter, who made the statement above and supervises the European region, would be misinformed about the nature of what was in production, which again is very true. These guys are paid hundreds of thousands, probably millions, some of them, if they do obviously a great job and everything else, because they're not going to go out there and say, oh yeah, this Spider-Man 2 Miles Morales is this. And then they're not going to have someone like Jason Schreier saying, oh no, he's wrong. But he's gone out and said it's an expansion pack because obviously the PS5's power is going to launch with Spider-Man, an updated and remastered version of this, and you'll get this game to go with it. And he's like, oh no, they're wrong. So who's wrong? The people who actually had the information, or the person who is just online saying stupid stuff? I rest my case. Without further evidence, it was indeterminable which side of the argument was telling the truth. Now we have that additional evidence, and Sony was correct on the scope of the project. According to the latest issue of Game Informer, Spider-Man Miles Morales is shipping with a remastered version of the original Marvel Spider-Man. I wonder how much that game is going to be, because supposedly they're saying the PS5 games are going to be between 40 and 60 quid, basically $50 to $70 in the States, which again is normal the price at the moment for PS4 games. And if they bring out remastered but still the full price, I can see a lot of people going like, oh, I'm not too sure about that, because, well, why would you? Why would you pay if you already got the game as well? It's that sort of thing. If they were going to sell Spider-Man with Miles Morales for, say, 30 quid or 40 quid, maybe, because you're kind of getting two games. But I can't see that happening. They're going to try and get as much money as they can. Game Informer admits many are calling it an expansion, but claims they imagine it to be similar to Uncharted Lost Legacy because of its length. There is no clarification or attempt to define what the expansion is, but because Sony has confirmed it is an expansion, they can no longer claim it isn't. Honestly, what was Insomniac and Jason Schreier thinking? There is no scenario in which they get away with this lie. Sony isn't foolish enough to set up a PR nightmare when they have the race-swapped version competing with the original, only to have the original vastly outsell a standalone expansion. Eventually, this was going to be announced as it truly was. And I'm kind of happy the game's coming out, because in Marvel Spider-Man, when you were playing as Miles, I was like, this is going to be great. But you couldn't play as him when he was in the Spider-Man suit, which kind of sucked. Because I think a lot of people were like, oh, this is going to be amazing, we get to be him. But you don't. Maybe they could have gave Peter his suit, just to say, oh, we haven't got it, you can have his suit for a bit until this comes out. Or until that comes out. You never know. But supposedly it's coming out towards the end of this year when the console launches. Again, we still haven't got a price, but a lot of people are saying it's going to be like 350 quid here in the UK for the digital-only PS5 and 450 to £500 for the console, which takes discs. I probably will be going for that one because, again, I like to actually have a hard copy of the game. Then I know that I bought it. If you are new to the channel, please like and subscribe, hit that notification bell for future updates, and I'll see each and every one of you soon.